Previously, the European scientists believed that the Earth was the center of the solar system, and the universe with all the planets as well as the moon and the sun revolved around it. This was known as geocentrism. This was the belief since the time of Ptolemy in the 2nd century BC till as late as the 16th century, until Nicholas Copernicus in 1512 propounded the heliocentric theory of planetary motion. He said that it is the sun which is the center of the solar system, and all the planets as well as the earth revolve around the sun. Later on, a German scientist by the name of Johannes Kepler in 1609 wrote in his book Astronomia Nova that not only do the planets, including the earth, revolve around the sun, but they also rotate about their own axis. 25 years ago, we were taught in school that planets, including the earth, not only revolve around the sun, but they also rotate about their own axis. The whole solar system in the galaxy revolved around the sun, and in this context, the sun was stationary, as it did not rotate about its own axis. There is a verse in the glorious Quran in Surah Al-Anbiyaa chapter 21 verse 33 which says, "It is Allah who created the night and the day, the sun and the moon, each one in its orbit with its own motion." The Quran says that the sun and the moon, besides revolving, also rotate about their own axis. The Arabic word used here is yasbahun, derived from the Arabic word sabaha, which describes the motion of a moving body. If this Arabic word sabaha is used for a person moving on the floor, it will not mean that he is rolling. Instead, it will mean that he is either walking or running. If the same Arabic word is used for a person in water, it will not mean that he is floating. Instead, it will mean that he is swimming. Similarly, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses this word for a celestial body, it does not mean that the body is flying in air. It means that it is moving with its own rotation about its own axis. So the Quran says that the sun and the moon, besides revolving, also rotate about their own axis. Today, science has also discovered this fact. On observing the sun, we find that there are spots on the sun called as black spots. From the motion of these spots, we realize that it takes about 25 days for the spots to complete one rotation, indicating that the sun has a rotation period of 25 days. Imagine, in the schools we were taught that the sun was stationary and it did not rotate, but this fact was mentioned in the Quran 1400 years ago. Alhamdulillah, nowadays most of the schools have incorporated the scientific fact that the sun also rotates. Whatever science has discovered recently has been mentioned in the glorious Quran 1400 years ago. According to Albert Einstein, the famous physicist and Nobel Prize winner, science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind. Let me remind you that the Quran is not a book of science, S-C-I-E-N-C-E, but it is a book of signs, S-I-G-N-S. It is a book of ayats, and there are more than 6,000 ayats, 6,000 signs in this glorious Quran, out of which more than 1,000 speak about science.